All right, so diverse and uniform. So David has dark hair just like his parents. Well, Letitia has dark hair, but her mother was blonde and her father had dark hair. How can we predict what color of hair David and Letitia's children will have? It's easy. Use a special chart called a Punnett square. A Punnett square is a chart used to show you possible gene combinations. The steps below show you how to use a Punnett square. So, when you look at David here, David's dad had dark hair, and his mom had dark hair. So what alleles did they give him? They both gave him dark alleles.
The same, right?
Yep. Both gave him dark. Letitia got one dark. Yeah, and that's good that you asked that. So the same. So he got homozygous dominant traits. Letitia got one dark trait, which is the dominant, but she also got one recessive blonde trait from her mother. So she is what? What do we call this combination? Heterozygous. She is heterozygous. She still has dark hair because she has the dominant trait, but she carries a blonde hair trait. So, and that shows you right here that dark hair is dominant, blonde is recessive, because dark has the what? Capital letter. Good. All right, so on this Punnett square, what they did is they took David, because David is the father, so David, and they took his genotype and wrote it right here. Then they took Letitia and wrote her genotype right here. Now, what do we have to do with the ones on top?
Drag them down.
Yep, drag them straight down. So drag it down. So capital D, capital D. And you do the same thing for this one because it's still on top. Drag it straight down, drag it straight down. Then what do I do with the ones on the side? Drag them straight across. So I bring this one here, and then I bring it over here, and then the lowercase d, lowercase d. So that should be a review from what we did last time. Okay, so you've got it filled in there. Now, the possible gene combinations for David and Letitia's children are homozygous dominant or heterozygous. Each of these is a gene combination that will result in children with dark hair. So which combination will their child get? It's just a matter of chance. It's a 50-50% chance because you have 50% homozygous dominant and 50% heterozygous. It's a 100% chance they're going to have dark hair. It's a 50% chance they'll have either of these genotypes. So they'll either have these two, like this is the same genotype, right, on top right here? And this is the same genotype. So their only two options for their kids to get are the genotype homozygous dominant or heterozygous. So if there's only two choices there, it's a 50-50 chance which one they'll get. But they're still going to have dark hair. Good. All right, so let's go ahead and look at SpongeBob. So if you worry about the characters that you know from the show in this, it's going to throw you off. So don't take it literal, just read the question. All right, so scientists at Bikini Bottom have been investigating the genetic makeup of the organisms in this community. Use the information provided and your knowledge of genetics to answer each question. Determine the phenotype for each genotype using the information provided below about SpongeBob. So right here, yellow body color, capital Y, is dominant. And blue body color, lowercase y, is what? Recessive. So if they have the genotype homozygous dominant, what color is SpongeBob going to be? Yellow. If SpongeBob is heterozygous, what color will he be? Why? Because you still have the dominant trait, or you still have a capital letter written there. So that tells you that that capital letter is going to show up. And if SpongeBob is homozygous recessive, what color will he be? Blue. All right, so the next one. Square shape is dominant to round shape. So if Patrick has the genotype homozygous dominant, what shape will he be? Square. I guess it's still SpongeBob. So SpongeBob. If SpongeBob is heterozygous, what shape will he be? Square. And if SpongeBob is homozygous recessive, what color will he be? Or what shape will he be? Round. Is anybody confused on that? All right. And remember, if y'all talk in the background while I'm recording it, it's going to be hard for them to hear. Okay, so for Patrick, having a tall head is dominant to a short head. So if I want Patrick to have a tall head, what two genotypes can he have? So, yep, homozygous dominant, two capital T's, or
Heterozygous, capital T, lowercase t.
perfect. Heterozygous, capital T, lowercase t. And the only way he could have a short head is how? Homozygous recessive, two lowercase t's. Okay, pink body color is dominant to green body color. So for Patrick to be pink, what's one genotype he can have?
You can have homozygous with two uppercase P.
Homozygous dominant, or what?
Or heterozygous with one uppercase P and a lowercase p.
Perfect. And to be green, you have to be
Two lowercase t, homozygous. Yeah.
homozygous recessive. All right, and go ahead and flip it to the next part here. It says SpongeBob. All right, so SpongeBob SquarePants recently meant Suzy Round Pants. SpongeBob genotype for his shape is homozygous dominant. But Sponge Suzy is round. Create a Punnett square to show the possibilities that would result if SpongeBob and Sponge Suzy had a child. Remember, capital S equals what? Square, which is dominant, and lowercase s is what? Round. If Sponge Suzy is round, what is her genotype? Homozygous recessive, so two lowercase s's. So we're going to go ahead and put Sponge Suzy on top with the two lowercase s's, and SpongeBob on the side with the two capital s's. homozygous dominant and homozygous recessive. And with these ones on top, what do I do with them? Drag them straight down. Where do we put lowercase letters, first or second? Second. So I'm going to do the same for both. And the ones on the side, where do they go? Straight across. So what are the possible genotypes for their offspring?
Square, because all of them have a dominant trait.
So what are the genotypes? Heterozygous. They're all heterozygous. So what are the chances that they'll be square?
100.
So 4 out of 4 or 100%. What are the chances they'll be round? 0 out of 4 or 0%. Next one. Patrick met Patty at a dance. Both of them have pink bodies. Both of them have pink bodies, but both have the recessive gene for a green body. So remember, pink is dominant. Green is recessive. So if they both have pink bodies, but they both have the recessive gene, what is their genotype?
It would be uppercase and lowercase.
Yes, then what do we call that?
Yeah.
Heterozygous. Does everybody understand that? They carry the recessive gene for green bodies, so they have to have a lowercase p, but they're pink, so they have to have the dominant trait as well. So we'll go ahead and put Patty on top, capital P, lowercase p, and Patrick on the side. And I want y'all to go ahead and fill that out and do this bottom, and then we're going to go through it. All right, did everybody get a Punnett square? It looks like this.
Yes.
Did anybody not? Okay, remember you drag down, drag across. So our possible genotypes are homozygous dominant, heterozygous, and homozygous recessive. Because homozygous dominant, heterozygous, homozygous recessive. Got all three this time. So what are the chances the child will have a pink body?
3 out of 4 or 75%.
And how do we know that? 3 out of 4 is 75%.
Because 3 out of 4 boxes have a dominant trait.
3 out of the 4 boxes have the dominant trait or a capital P. You have one right here, you have 2 in this one, and you have one right here. So we have 3 boxes with that. So that means what's the chances they'll be green? 1 out of 4 or 25% to be green, because there's only one box with 2 recessive traits. All right, flip it to the last part here. All right, so everyone in Squidward's family has light blue skin, which is the dominant trait for body color in his hometown of Squid Valley. So remember, we're going to put capital B equals blue because that's the dominant trait. His father brags they are a purebred line. So if they're purebred, what is their genotype?
Homozygous.
So Squidward is going to be homozygous dominant because they are what you call pure. Means they are homozygous. He recently married a nice girl who had light green skin, which is a recessive trait. So, lowercase b will equal green. If she is green, what is her genotype? Homozygous recessive. Because in order for her to show up green skin, she has to only have recessive traits for green skin. So if we cross this, go ahead and do that right now. And when you do that, what is the only genotype you get? Which is heterozygous. So what are the chances of light blue skin? 4 out of 4, 100%, because why? There's a dominant trait in every single box. So that means all of them will come out light blue. So the chance they'll be light green then has to be 0 out of 4 or 100%. Or, sorry, yes. 0%. So, looking at these questions, how many possible children are predicted in each Punnett square? 4. There's 4 boxes. Each one is a child. How are dominant genes represented in a Punnett square? Capital letters. And how are recessive? Lowercase.